In this video, I have a look at how changing just 3 things will completely change the mood of a portrait.
Adorama TV presents Take and Make Great Photography with Gavin Hoey.
Hello, I'm Gavin Hoey and you're watching Adorama TV, brought to you by Adorama, the camera store that has everything for us photographers. In this video, I'm going to have a look at portraits and how it's possible to completely change the mood of a portrait by only changing a few things. Now, I'm going to look at 3 different things. I'm going to look at the obvious stuff. For example, if you change a model's expression or pose, that can change the mood in your shot. Then there's more subtle things. Lighting, that can alter the mood as well. Finally, I'm going to have a look at post-processing, a bit of Photoshop, because of course you can do almost anything in Photoshop, possibly. We'll see how that works out, but first, let's get on with the shoot. Once again, I've been joined by Roger, and he's still a boxer that's had a bit of a bad day. But the moods that we're going to simulate are 2. Well, we're going to go with Roger as a victorious boxer who's won his fight and is looking really happy and aggressive, and we're going to go with a sad, defeated boxer as well. And Roger, that's the one we're going to start with, but don't worry, we'll get to your victory very soon indeed. So for the sad shot, I'm going to use simple lighting. 1 light, and just light it nice and soft and gentle. So this is the light I'm going to use. This is the Adorama StreakLight 360, and I've got it in a small softbox. So let's just bring this down and a little bit closer into Roger. Now I've got it on a boom arm simply so it doesn't appear in the shots. I'm going to get it nice and close. Nice and close should give nice soft lighting. The closer and bigger the light source, the softer and more moody the shot becomes. Now I want to shoot at f8 as my aperture. So I need to set this light to produce f8 amount of light. Now we could do it by trial and error, but as I've got a flash meter, I like to use that. And I've got my little remote control for the StreakLight here. So I'm going to set my flash meter up so it's the same camera settings, and then I'll pop the little dome underneath Roger's chin, pointing back at the light, press the test button, and I get a flash meter reading of f5.6. Now that might be fine, I could just dial in f5.6 on my camera, but because I want f8, I'm going to increase the power of that light by 1 stop, and that's 3 clicks here on the remote. And there you go, f8. So I've got the light set exactly how I want it. Let's set the camera up and take some shots. Okay, so we're going to start with the wraps. So as if you were unwrapping it. Can you pull it a little tighter just so you can... So turn your head slightly to the side and bring your eyes back here. Okay, can you give me a little bit of a sigh? There it is. And let's get your gloves off. Let's just take your gloves off. That's it. You're done. It's your last bout. That's it. Big time. Come and gone. So there we go, Roger, that was your failure, but now we get to do your victory. So for the victory, I'm going to do things a little bit differently. The first thing you'll notice is the key light. The key light is exactly the same as the last shot. I still want that soft lighting on Roger's face. It's the same power setting as well, f8. So what's the difference? Well, the difference is the background lights. I've got 2 small speed lights either side and just behind Roger, and they're going to be set to put a little bit of rim lighting on the shoulders and on the back. That adds contrast to the shot, and that contrast is going to give this picture a bit more aggression, and that's what I'm looking for. Now I need to work out how bright to make these lights. Now remember, I'm working at f8 for my camera and f8 for the key light. So the background lights, I want them to be about a stop less, f5.6. So I've got my flash meter, I've got my remote trigger, I'm going to point the little dome back at the light I want to meter. Okay, that is f8, so that's too much light onto Roger. I just need to reduce the power here. I can either do it on the remote, or of course I can come round to the flash itself, and we can just bring that down a little bit lower in power. And now I'm getting f5.6. I repeat the process on the other side, here we go. And by chance, that's actually on f5.6. Brilliant! Don't you love it when that happens? So that's the light set. Let's do some pictures. Right, okay, so this time you won. Well done. So you are a winner, but then we knew that anyway, didn't we? Yeah, so let's give us the old kind of, yeah. That's the way, that's what we're after. Let's bang your gloves together. 1, 2, 3. That's the way, that's what we're after. Okay, and then to the lights, okay, so yeah. Wow, that was fantastic fun. And of course, it's not just about the lighting, it's also the model's attitude, the posing. It all helps to bring the different moods together. But the final piece of the jigsaw puzzle is post-processing. So Photoshop can help too. So let's jump into Photoshop and see how we edit some of the pictures. And we're going to do that right now. Photoshop is the key that's going to unlock the mood in these pictures. But before I get to Photoshop, let's just have a look at these pictures as they came out the camera. Starting with the first shoot, the defeated look. I asked Roger to give me a pose that looked defeated, and the simplest way to do that is just ask to get a big sigh. When somebody sighs, their shoulders drop, their body relaxes, and it all becomes well, he looks just deflated, doesn't he? He looks fantastically beaten. That worked well. The lighting helped as well. The single light up very close means that I get a nice natural vignette around the outside and soft light on Roger, which is exactly what I wanted for this shot. Compare that to the victorious shot. In this one, well, the energy that comes through in this picture is enormous, and we built that up in the shoot. We had a great conversation, we were really getting enthusiastic. You can see it in Roger's arms, how the veins are standing up, and on his facial expression. Perfect. The lighting on this one, well, those two little edge lights may be small, but they give this a lovely separation from the edge of Roger and the background. Now, the key here was to make sure they weren't too bright. It's very easy to get edge lights that overpower the shot and burn out detail, particularly bearing in mind of what I'm going to do next in Photoshop, because it's easy to lose that detail in Photoshop as you increase contrast. Let's have a look. I'm going to start with the first shot, the defeated look. I'm going to change the white balance. Rather than having it the as shot white balance, I'm going to pull it down towards the colder end. He's getting the cold shoulder, he's defeated, it's a sad, cold shot. I'm then going to come to contrast and increase the contrast. Now, I'm increasing the contrast really just to make these nice blacks a little bit deeper so it adds to the mood of the shot. And I've gone a little bit more than perhaps I wanted to because I know I'm going to change the contrast again with clarity. Now, clarity only works on the mid-tones, and usually I push it up or make it much more clarity increased, but in this case I want to decrease it. I want to smooth out some of the detail, really to give this a softness, and that's going to add to the mood, the gentle downbeat mood of this shot. The main thing, however, is going to be vibrance. Vibrance, well, the colours at the moment look like I shot them, but if I decrease the vibrance, I can really make the colours feel muted, and that is what adds the mood that I want for this shot. Now, once I've done all those adjustments, you need to glance back over, particularly at the histogram, and say there's a bit of a gap up there, so we'll just increase the highlights and increase the whites just so we have a decent range of tones, and just adjust things accordingly. That's the sort of downbeat mood. What about the victorious shot? Well, let's jump over to that one. So for this one, I'm going to give it similar but subtly different changes. I'm not going to change the temperature. I'll leave that as it is for now. I am going to add in the contrast, however, because I still want those nice deep dark blacks in the shot. The clarity this time, rather than decreasing clarity, I'm going to increase the clarity, and I'm going to increase it a lot. And that's really going to add to the energy in this picture by giving it a very sharp, defined edge. Similarly, I'm going to come down to the vibrance, and I'll punch up the vibrance a little bit just to make sure the colours are nice and punchy. It may be just a little bit too red on Roger's face. So because I just want to adjust these areas, I'm just going to get the local adjustment brush, come down to the saturation, and just set that and that alone, and we'll drop it down maybe 30%. And with a nice small brush, I'll just paint a little bit less saturation just across Roger's face, and we can fine tune that to get it about right. There's the 2 different moods completed, starting with a downbeat and defeated, low-key, low saturation shot, followed by a much more energetic, much more punchy, saturated and clarity-driven shot as well. Well, there you go. If you've enjoyed this video and you want to see more from myself and the other amazing presenters here on Adorama TV, you know what you've got to do. You've got to click on the subscribe button. I'm Gavin Hoey. Thanks for watching.
Do you want great looking prints at low cost? Be sure to visit our easy-to-use online printing service. Adorama Pix has professionals who treat your images with the utmost care that you can count on. For a quick turnaround on photos, cards, or albums, use AdoramaPix.com.